Morning! What's going on? Happy day 34, folks. So on my way to work here, listen to Andrew Huberman's Using Salt to Optimize Mental and Physical Health. Because I do want to answer the question from Rob G today about my little salt concoction that I've been drinking every morning here. So it's actually salt and potassium. So yeah, I'm gonna do a little educational piece on that this afternoon and the importance of salt, because I think, especially from some of the old generation that is watching, there tends to be this sort of perception that salt's bad and you shouldn't eat too much salt and yada yada yada. Well, is that really the case? Or is it the fact that we're eating too many calories from processed food that has a shit ton of salt and a shit ton of calories? So yeah, I'm gonna break that down this afternoon. I don't know if you guys listen to Huberman at all. He's extremely smart, so it's not gonna be that technical. It's gonna be educational and informative, probably with some sort of humorous light, and yeah, not so technical. He's too smart for many of us, including myself. So yeah, busy morning, busy day today, 6 clients today. So just gonna get to work, do a little reading, and then start busting out some training. I literally looked back to see that dog like 200 yards away from me. That loose. I know, her ears are like velvet. That was a great morning of clients. Busy, busy, busy. My second client of the day, Vicki, she's a hybrid client of mine that we worked on a bunch of squatting, bracing, and Olympic lifting techniques. I really wish I had a client of mine who's hybrid who is cool with me miking up for an entire training session, because there's just so much knowledge and helpful tips that are actually dropped within an hour-long session like that I think would be so valuable for the general population and just people in general to actually hear. It's just so much different trying to almost like create a scenario where those questions arise and how I can kind of show them while actually showing a client go through those changes, because they're so powerful when we actually figure out how to properly brace while we're lifting, squatting, deadlifting, overhead pressing, and it makes a huge difference. So I'm gonna have to find a client who's cool with that. I'm gonna do that. I have 3 hours here, most of which is gonna be editing and getting this educational salt video all ready so that I don't have to edit till like midnight tonight. But first, I'm gonna take Luce to the field, use her launcher and tire her out a little bit, because yeah, 6 sessions in a day is a lot for her to be chilling and just sleeping the whole day. So got to make sure she's getting her steps in too, because she gets a lot of treats. That was a pretty big play, hey? Okay, Luce just had a huge play with a bunch of her friends at the park, and I just wanted to show you my moose, because it turned out really damn good. I do feel like it needs like a gravy or something, but honestly, for salt and pepper, slow cooker for, I think it was like 7.5 hours total. Very good. So thanks again, Mike. I know I need vegetables on my plate. I'm hoping to have time today, but it's just been non-stop today, so I gotta learn some more about salt here and then record that for the vlog today and then go back for 3 more clients tonight. So it's been a lot. All right, y'all, today we're gonna learn a little bit about salt, aka sodium. First and foremost, I am not a doctor. You need to speak to your doctor if you are going to be making any changes in regards to your diet. Secondly, it is absolutely imperative that you know your blood pressure. If you are pre-hypertension or if you do have hypertension, aka high blood pressure, it is absolutely crucial that you monitor your blood pressure on a regular basis. This is actually one of the leading causes of death in North America, is people having heart attacks due to high blood pressure. So please, 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 if there's one thing that I can suggest that you begin to manage and pay attention to, it is your blood pressure. I know that I've made this post before, but who gives a shit what the scale says? Your blood pressure is infinitely more important than what the scale says. Obviously, the two coincide together, but do not worry about stepping on a scale if you have no clue what your blood pressure is. Please, please, please go to your nearest London Drugs, whatever pharmacy you can, to just get your blood pressure checked, and please monitor that on a regular basis. This is essentially a non-negotiable when it comes to actually making any sort of dietary changes, any sort of cardiovascular changes, strength training changes, anything. Another important thing to distinguish here is 1 gram of table salt equals 388 milligrams of sodium. So when I'm talking about this in the context of taking in salt, it's actually more so sodium. But why this is important is that daily recommendation from the World Health Organization is 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day. If we take that 2,300, divide that by the 388, it's going to equate to 5.92 grams of salt per day. Now, one thing to disclose as well is in regards to table salt versus something like sea salt, Himalayan sea salt, the only real difference is that Himalayan sea salt is going to have a variety of minerals on top of just table salt being just sodium. So again, if you want to go with the fancy salt, you can do that, but honestly, it doesn't really matter that much. So first thing I want to distinguish is there's two different types of thirst. There is osmotic thirst and there is hypovolemic thirst. Hope I said that right. Osmotic thirst is something like you ate a bag of chips and now you are very thirsty. The salt concentration in your bloodstream is very high, which sends neurons to the brain saying, hey, I'm thirsty, give me some water. Hypovolemic thirst is a drop in blood pressure. So that can happen from a loss of blood due to an injury. That can happen from vomiting, diarrhea.
Happening. It's happening. It's happening. It happened.
Things of that nature. When your body is feeling thirsty, it's searching a balance. It's searching a balance of both water and sodium in the bloodstream. By having a balanced amount of sodium in the bloodstream, our brain and our muscles can function normally. If they are low, they are not going to function normally, and this can become an issue. But truthfully, when it comes to any individual nutrient, the idea is we're trying to find balance. If you have too low of sodium, that's an issue. If you also have too high of sodium, that is also an issue. So when you look at epidemiological studies in regards to nutrition, there's not a lot of controlled nutrition studies out there. Now, reason being, there's a lack of funding. Secondly, and arguably most importantly, is the fact that people screw up all the time. It's human nature, and it is what it is. It's unfortunate, but that's the reality of epidemiological studies when it comes to nutrition. Now, the really big issue is a lot of the crowd that, salt is bad, is within those studies, there's many factors that are not being controlled. One of the most important factors of them being caloric intake. So more often than not, when people do have high sodium diets, a lot of what they're consuming is highly processed food. If you ate nothing but lean protein, vegetables, clean fats on a daily basis, you actually have to eat a fair bit of sodium to hit the required amount of sodium. When you are eating the majority of your food that is hyper processed, not only are you going way high in your sodium intake, you're also likely going way high in your caloric intake. So there's sort of a multitude of issues that arise from that. It's not just that salt is bad. And truth be told, if anyone out there is demonizing one single nutrient, whether it be sugar, salt, meat, vegetables, you get that dipshit carnivore crowd, anyone that's demonizing one nutrient is missing the entire picture, because anything in a balanced ratio is really not that bad for you. If there's one thing that you're going to be cutting out of your diet, it should be poison, aka alcohol and drugs. So realistically, if you're openly consuming alcohol on a regular basis and you're trying to demonize salt or sugar or vegetables or some stupid shit like that, you need to give your head a shake and realign what is actually of the utmost importance in your life. So what you've been seeing me drink in the morning is my sea salt, which is about a half a teaspoon, and then the no salt, which is just potassium chloride, and I'm having a half a teaspoon of that as well. Now, the reason that I have sodium and potassium together is that they work in conjunction with each other. Now, there's a wide variety of ratios. Some say 2-to-1 potassium to sodium, the others say the other way around. This is largely contextual based off of your diet. So if you're someone who's eating a low carb diet, then you're going to be lacking potassium, meaning that you're going to need more potassium supplemented. If you have a high carb diet, then it's going to be the other way around. So that's where there's a lot of nuance within all of this. Potassium-rich foods are things such as dried fruits, raisins, apricots, beans, lentils, potatoes, squash, spinach, broccoli, beets, avocados, and bananas, and other ones, but that's a good list to start with. The thing when it comes to sodium intake and water intake is that if you are consuming a fair bit of caffeine, because caffeine is a diuretic, it's recommended that you try to replenish 8 ounces of fluid, aka water, as soon as you do drink that coffee and or tea, whatever caffeine source you're intaking from. If you're looking for an interesting resource on salt and sodium in general, there's a book called The Salt Fix. It's quite the fascinating resource. What he recommends in the book itself, and again, tons of context if you are hypertension, pre-hypertension, or hypotension, because all of that's going to play a factor in this. His general recommendations is going to be 8 to 12 grams of salt per day and 4 grams of potassium per day. You can do the math on that. So if we go 8 to 12 times the 0.388 milligrams, then you can do the math on that. I'll put the math on the screen here actually. It's really important that, again, we search for balance within our bloodstream. If we drink too much water and we don't have enough sodium in our bloodstream, we actually can die because we excrete too much, and this can also lead to dizziness, brain fog, things like that. But within all of this, there's a ton of context and a ton of nuance. So if you're going to be making any dietary changes, again, please talk to your doctor. But more importantly, even if you don't go talk to your doctor, go and check your blood pressure. Costs you $0 to go to the pharmacy and get it checked out. They all have the little arm thing. Put your arm in there and get it measured. Like I said, this is one of the leading causes of death in North America, and people drop down dead on a regular basis because they don't have a damn clue. So don't be one of those individuals that just neglects your blood pressure. Please, 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 if there's one thing you get out of this video, please go get blood pressure checked and checked regularly. Your sodium and potassium balance within your bloodstream play a large role in blood pressure as a whole. So that's why I think this is an important piece of information for people to understand why I'm drinking that each and every morning. I'm sleeping for anywhere between 7 to 9 hours. You wake up, you are dehydrated, you take a piss first thing in the morning. Get some sodium and potassium in your bloodstream. Again, depending on where you're at, pre-hypertension is going to determine how much or how little you should have. So I hope you found this information valuable. If you'd like any more resources, I'm going to link a couple article links in the show description itself that answers the question in depth of why I'm drinking my sodium and potassium drink each and every morning. It doesn't taste great, I'm not going to lie, but sometimes you just have to make a little sacrifice to optimize your health and nutrition and well-being. Hey, we are just en route back to work here. You are going to have just seen the super awesome, informative sodium breakdown that I just did, which I thought was fascinating. I don't know, maybe I'm just a huge dork, but I thought it was super cool to actually go through Huberman's podcast there and learn more in depth about the importance of sodium, the importance of the balance of sodium, and just knowing numbers. I don't know, for me, it's a data thing where what gets measured gets managed, and I just love numbers like that. I mean, I'm huge on financial budgeting, which if you want me to talk about that, I would love to, but is it one of those things that's kind of like managing your calories? Do you need to manage your calories to lose weight? Do you need to manage your money and use a budget to save money? No, but if you know what's going in versus what's going out, you're probably gonna have a much better time at managing those types of areas of your life much more effectively. So I don't know, I think that shit's cool. Hopefully you guys appreciated that. And the biggest takeaway of all that is go get your goddamn blood pressure checked and checked regularly. So, I got 3 clients back to back here tonight, one of which is a hybrid client from Calgary who's coming in for work. Artur, the big Russian baby, won't let me film him anymore. You'll maybe just see one of the clients tonight for sure, which is Ashley. Hopefully Ashley and Sarah, but either way, it's been a good day. We learned some stuff, we trained some people. Just feeling good on day 34 today. Grateful, happy to be here.
To my thick chicks down in Texas, all the way to New Orleans where the girls cook catfish. And in LA, every chick's an actress. Hollywood status with the shaded glasses. To Detroit, yeah, the place that I rest, where the ladies got asses and la la sex. And hot Atlanta, y'all, is one of the best, where they speak southern slang and smoke la cess. And New York women are way too fresh. Too much on your mind, let me ease that stress. I wish you all were mine, it's so selfish. Maybe I'm feeling myself too much, I guess. But to my ladies all across the globe, in small towns that I don't even know, to all local international codes. Whether you see me in streets or catch me at shows, I'm calling. Maybe I'm selfish. I want you to myself, I can't.
It's like 9:15. I should be done by now, but for shit's sake, I'm gonna measure out basically 6 grams of salt here. And I want you to see contextually what that actually looks like if you're taking it in from just Himalayan sea salt itself. Technically 6.5 grams of sea salt. I know it doesn't look crazy, but just think about that in the construct of where you're taking in your sodium on a daily basis. I just want you to start paying attention to labels and things like that. Unfortunately, I'm not trying to be like a elitist here, but I really don't have anything. Yeah, I don't have a bunch of processed shit in here, I'm not gonna lie. It's a pretty bare looking pantry right now. I wish I did so I could just show some examples. So this is not a good example, but just start paying attention to the nutrition labels in your pantry itself. Just to actually kind of see how much sodium are you actually taking in a day. Because when you see the Himalayan sea salt like that, like it doesn't look like a ton, but that's the daily required amount. So just be aware. I did look up some nutrition labels as well, and like a Big Mac and fries was about 1,300 milligrams of salt. So it's about half that on the plate there. And a large foot-long sweet onion chicken teriyaki was more than that in just the 1 foot sub alone. So especially when you're going out to fast food restaurants, when you're looking at anything that's like super hyper processed, you know, look at your bag of chips. Be aware of what's in a giant bag of chips. I just want you to pay a little bit more attention to it. So I hope you found that interesting today. I thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, I'm gonna probably wrap that up because it is like 20 after 9 now. And I think that was a long enough day. So unfortunately I didn't get any footage of Sarah. It was just, we were doing so much technical work back and forth all the time kind of thing. It was just too much. So yeah, just the one session with Ashley tonight that you guys see on camera. She did split tricks for the first time and she crushed it. So shout out to Ashley, AKA Bish. She knows what's up. Hope you guys liked today's vlog. Tomorrow is kind of my day off. I have to go to the doctor like 8 in the morning, which is a pain in my ass. But yeah, otherwise it's pretty much a day off. So it's gonna be a pretty chill mini vlog tomorrow. Maybe I'll go back to HomeSense, who knows. So please like, subscribe, comment, do all that stuff for the algorithm. You know what to do at this point. Day 34 in the books. I'll see you for tomorrow's mini vlog, day 35. Peace, folks.